Rocco, I don't know if this made it or not, but I remember when we were initially recording the episode, I started singing and I'm like, keep smiling, keep shining, know that you can always count on me. Hello, and welcome to Carrier Code, your inside track to the strategies, stories, and leaders driving the trucking industry forward. Today's episode is sponsored by Driver's Legal Plan, CDL Ticket Defense for Professional Drivers, and produced by Bulldog, Trucking's Podcast Pros. I'm Christy Choice, here with my co-host Rocco Merari. How's it going, Rocco?
Christy, it's going great. It's going to be a wonderful show today. This is going to be a fun one.
This is fun. This is fun. And I think we've talked about it before. One of the things that makes the industry so enjoyable, in addition to, changing people's lives and seeing our local commerce continue to grow and expand, is the people we get to do it alongside. It's our friends in the industry.
It is, and it's a big part of trucking. Again, we always said it's a big little family. And, today we're going to talk to people who help guide us and go along on this ride with us. So I think it's going to be just a tremendous show. Our listeners are going to have some laughs, and I'm sure there's going to be questions after this.
Yes. And so in preparing for this episode, I know I was thinking who could be the person of all the people who I know, respect, and admire, who would fit this bill? And I think you and I had to really think through okay, who's my person? And so I'm really, really excited about where we landed. But just know that there are, when I think about people, there are so many people who, again, I just really respect and admire. People who have been a confidant, who've been a friend, who've taught me things, who I've learned from, right? I mean, there's so many different dynamics. And those ones of you who've been a therapist, you know who you are, right? A little bit of everything in between.
Well, Christy, and I think you and I probably could have had 50 people on here, 100, that have molded us and guided us along this path, because neither of us started in trucking. Yeah. I don't think either of us expected to be in trucking. And it's because of everybody that we met along the way and took time out of their day and saw something in us and believed in us enough to take that time and help us achieve whatever goal it was, no matter what it was. I know I've had dumb ideas, stupid ideas, and I've run them by, everybody in the industry that I trust. And some were very, ended up being really good ideas. Others were not. And the one thing about the industry is everybody's honest, and they'll tell you how it is one way or another, if you like it or not. So it's just such a wonderful ride to be on, and to have everybody around you be part of that. It's just fantastic.
Okay, you got me a little emotional there. I really, really enjoy people. And I think that that's why this podcast is going to be continue to be such a hit, because we are going to continue to have more wonderful, exciting guests. But for the listeners out there, if you have someone who you can think of I couldn't do this without this person, right? This journey is so much better because this person is on it with me. We want to know. So email us at knowthecode@carriercodepodcast.com. We would love to hear your stories of connection and inspiration, because that's what helps drive the trucking industry forward. It's about the people. And so today we're going to be talking to someone who we consider our right hand, whether you call them a partner in crime, your right hand man or woman, or just like I said, a therapist. These people are the ones who help us to become what we were meant to be. And so we are going to have a really, really good time. Check out this episode. Well, we know in this industry, it's not about what you know, but it's about who you know. And each of us can probably think of someone who has really taught us a lot about the industry, someone we hold in high regard. And we're excited for this episode of Carrier Code Podcast, where we'll be talking about our right-hand woman or man. And so in this case, my right-hand person is joining me today. His name is Bryan Wiebold from 10th Street. Bryan, I'm so excited to have you here with us. Hello.
Well, hello, Christy. I'm flabbergasted that I was your selection, but I'm very honored at the same time.
Yes. Well, I feel like I have learned so much from you in the last couple years, traveling around, learning the conference circuit with you has taught me so much that, I just got used to, hey, if Bryan's going, I want to go too. right? And we always have a really great time meeting with
Yeah.
our clients and getting the job done. And so that's why you're my right hand.
Well, thank you for that. I think the world of you. You're an up and comer, already established, just reaching further into the industry, and it's exciting just to see you grow and come to be who you really, really are.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm honored to hear that. And I made a promise to myself that I was not going to shed a tear because this is all exciting stuff. And so I guess I just want to jump right in. Now, I've kind of shared a little bit about why I've chosen you. Again, hold you in such high regard for what you do and how you really honor the industry by bringing everybody up a level, right? I think it takes some doing to do that, but you make everyone feel seen, heard, and so special. And you're always willing to connect and correct, right? There are times when you're meeting with someone and you'll be like, hey, I want to be that 10th Street ambassador. I'm going to connect you to the right person. I'm going to help you out. And then there's other times where you have to say, hey, no, we don't do that. This is what we do, right? And you are so great at really just explaining our space in the industry, and you learn so much about other folks as well.
I strive for that. It's important, I believe, for people to engage fully, and they can't really do that unless they're recognized and they understand that you're present there with them. So very kind of you to say that. Thank you.
You're so very welcome. Now, Bryan, I know you, but go ahead and introduce yourself, your role, and tell us how long you've been in the industry.
All right, my name's Bryan Wiebold. I'm industry relations for 10th Street. So I go to about 30 shows a year at least out in the industry. And really my function is a few things. Number one, to represent the company, relate to customers and prospects in the industry, try to keep up on the industry trends, look for partnerships in the industry for 10th Street to advance our position in the industry, and just traveling and being involved, getting to speak, panel discussions, and those type of things. Been working for 10th Street coming up on my 7th year now, and I've worked in several other industries, but by far trucking is my favorite.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to ask, why is trucking your favorite?
That's a great question. For me, it fits me really well. And these are the reasons why. One, trucking is purpose driven, right? The America doesn't move without trucking. It's the heartbeat of this nation. And every home, every product, every store, every community, every family depends on the dedication and the commitment of drivers and fleets and everyone involved in the trucking industry in order to make it move forward. And so it's not just freight moving, it's really our nation moving forward. The second reason is the problems. I'm a problem solver by nature. I love puzzles. And trucking is full of challenges every damn day, right? Everything, no matter what the issues are, they're there, and it's just litigation, policy, driver compensation, safety, you name it, truck parking, all of it's there. And having those problems facing us, I'm looking for solutions, and that keeps me engaged every day, keeps me engaged fully, and really keeps me learning, which is I'm an avid learner. And then the last thing for me, and probably the most important, is just that it's people-centered. The people that are in the trucking industry, I've worked in 7 other industries in my career, everything from drivers to fleet leaders, safety, pros, dispatchers, executives. It's just amazing how that resilient they are, how proud they are to serve, how gracious they are in serving. And so it's just something that really brings it together for me, that it's a huge industry, right? But it's a very tight community.
For sure.
And that fits me really well.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Now, one of the things you just said was related to the fact that you're an avid learner and that you really love the people-centered nature of our industry. And so this is a shameless plug. if you're listening out there and you are not connected or following Bryan Wiebold on LinkedIn, you're missing out because he always publishes excellent content as a thought leader in our industry. So again, you're going to have, some information come up that you can connect with him. But you did a recent study about driver compensation. Now,
Oh,
I want you to share a little bit of it with us because I think it was really insightful. Again, these are the ways that you organically connect with people, and you connect the driver experience
yeah.
with what fleet leaders and executives need to know. And so I want you to share a little bit of that with us today.
All right. Well, you pushed the button on my biggest passion right now, which is driver compensation. So it was maybe March or April, and we've been traveling in the industry, and I had heard no less than 6 presentations at all these conferences about driver compensation and the financial stress that brings distraction to a driver and how important that it is. And everything that a driver faces really is stressful. But then you stop and you have to think their fathers, mothers, spouses, at home, they've got responsibilities. They're working this job to meet those responsibilities, right? And so I just started researching on my own time and just discovered that, emergency funds are critical. Retirement, forget about it. I mean, it's amazing. I was at the National Truck Driving Championships a couple of weeks ago in Minneapolis, and these drivers made a little less than $100,000 on average, right? And so I talked to 50 drivers. That was my goal. And these drivers drive for companies that are just incredible, and they're making good money. And so I just talked to them and actually did a little survey on my own and asked them to fill out a survey for me, and they did. And it was astounding to me that I think 4 had any type of emergency funds, and it was not
Of
over
50,
$1,000.
you're saying interviewing 50 drivers and
Yes.
only 4
Yes.
had emergency funds.
Yes, you're right.
Whoa.
And less than
Whoa.
$1,000. And so then my next question was, how do you handle emergencies? And it was high interest credit cards. There were different options, but the majority of them said high interest credit cards. So that puts them into a more stressful state of high interest credit card debt, right? So, and then ask them about retirement and some other things. The bottom line is that we need to innovate the driver compensation in the trucking industry with some new ideas and some new thoughts. We need to bring some stability and some predictability, because that's really what drivers want. And the big whole sign-on bonus thing is not good. It's not healthy for compensation. It's not good for carriers. It's not good for careers, really, because drivers are looking to find someplace that's stable, predictable, and then they'll commit to it and do better for the company.
Wow. Yeah, I read through some of your findings that you posted on LinkedIn, and I was pretty astounded, right? We want to entice younger folks and people who may not think that trucking is a career option to get into the industry and to stay in the industry, but the earning potential has to match with other industries that are out there. So it's really great that you are highlighting, driver compensation.
Yeah, so the older drivers have a different perception of work. The younger generation that's hesitant of coming in is because they don't see it as a true career, because that stability and predictability is not there. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I look forward to seeing more about driver compensation, because I think it's something that we have to continue the conversation about. And I know that I've seen other bits and pieces of it. Of course, we're in a very volatile state right now in the industry where we're just trying to figure it out, right? And so one of those things that we have to figure out, though, as we figure it all out, we have to revisit driver compensation. And I know carriers they want to, right? I think everybody wants to, but making it a priority, I think, is going to really help with the industry being, viewed at that next level, right? And keeping folks in the industry.
Absolutely.
hmm Now, I also want to take this opportunity to highlight a recent accomplishment of yours. 10th Street is a proud member of NPTC, the National Private Truck Council, and you recently got your CTP. Explain to us what a CTP is so we can congratulate you again.
Okay, first of all, I thought she was going to mention that I just was awarded my third grandchild last week, but that's
So exciting.
that's number one. But no, the CTP was just something that have been involved for 5 years in the National Private Truck Council, and it's a great association, and it's for private fleets specifically, and it's a different type of conference because of the carriers that it relates to. And so I saw the opportunity there, learned a lot by just going to the conferences and taking in the sessions. But then they offered the certified transportation professional accreditation, and it's Christy, I'm older than you,
Really?
and I am an avid learner, but hitting the books has not really, I study at my own pace, but this really challenged me, and so participated in that process and really just learned how siloed as a supplier in the industry that I am. HR got you, safety, know some of that, but human resources, yes, for sure, but financial. Why do we want to lease a truck rather than purchase a truck? But see how all of that works together is really the critical point, and that's what the CTP does for you. And it makes me a better supplier, right? It makes me have better conversations with existing customers and prospects in the industry when I talk to them, because I really have a good understanding of the breadth and the width of what they go through. And so it's very challenging now. It's not a just pay your money and get certified. So there's a 4-hour exam that waits after about 40 hours of training, teaching and instruction, and then they make you hole up in your house and pray and take another 4-hour exam.
Yeah.
And it's pressurized, and so you got to get it turned in on time. You don't, and you're done. So
Whoa.
it was a very good thing for me, and I appreciate you mentioning it because I am proud of it, and the fact that 10th Street was awarded the NPTC Supplier of the Year this year. So that was a kudos on top of my CTP.
Oh my goodness. So many wonderful things to celebrate. That new grandbaby, the CTP, all of the wonderful things that you are involved in. Well, it has been amazing having this conversation with you. I just want to say, keep smiling, keep shining. Know that you can always count on me, Bryan. I am so proud of you, and I am honored to be your partner in crime.
Feel the same way, Christy. Thank you.
Rocco?
Thanks, Christy. My goodness, look who we have here today. Miss Amanda Schuier, the Strategic Maintenance Director at Jetco Delivery. Hey, Amanda.
What's up, Rocco? How's it going?
It's going. Well, I guess today we're going to let everybody know how you and I met and really how you've been pivotal for just a lot of people's careers in the industry, mine included.
Are you going to tell them the real story of how we met or the podcast safe story?
How about we merge the two?
Okay.
And we'll have a safe for work real story.
Okay, fair enough.
I love that. Okay.
You start.
So back in the day when I was at EB Technologies, we had a applicant tracking software. So Amanda was actually, I can't remember, where were you at the time? Gosh,
Director of recruiting at Waller Truck.
Was it Waller? Okay.
Yep.
So one of the accounts I was supposed to call on was Amanda. And I can't tell you how many times I called on her. I bet you 10 to 15. And the
how many
best
times
part,
did I answer the phone, Rocco?
Well, you answered like 4. And you know what the kicker was? I don't know if you remember this. You set up a demo with me and ghosted me.
Oh.
Yeah. Then you ghosted me and didn't show up.
I don't remember that part.
I'm sure you don't remember that part. But yeah, so everybody, that's how I first met Amanda. And then we also met at a trade show one time.
I do remember that.
Do you remember that? How'd that go?
I do. But actually, so back to the ghosting part.
Okay.
That you are the reason that I set hours between when salespeople can call on me.
It could be.
So,
It could
so
be.
now I don't do Mondays or Fridays with salespeople, and I think it's all because of you.
And you also only do from 11 to 11:15 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Wait, it's not that strict, but it's kind of close. But
You're
it's
getting
Tuesday to Thursday, 10 to 2. But you know what? It helps me work way better. So yeah, I have a salespeople rule because of you.
So salespeople, remember
thanks.
that if you're calling on Amanda.
That's right.
She has set dates that she's going to possibly answer your calls. No,
You know what? I'm more efficient and productive that way.
Well, I thought it was neat. The other time we met, actually, first time in person was at a trade show when, how can we put this? You had some salespeople who were kept calling on you. How about that?
They were selling. They were selling. They were doing their job, but they were a little persistent. That's true.
So we had a booth there at EBE, and like I said, Amanda and I never met before. And all of a sudden, this woman who I didn't know just plopped down in the booth and was hiding behind whatever our little, whatever you want to call it, our little display. And that's how I first met Amanda.
I pretended to be really interested in your product so that another salesman would leave me alone.
You did. I remember that.
That's a true story.
That is a true story. That is a true story. So
that's how we met in person.
Yeah.
That's true. Indeed.
But from there, everybody, Amanda and I really become good friends. She's done a ton for not only myself, but for the industry. Amanda's very, very deeply ingrained in TMC, the ATA, and so much other things. And, she has the ability to volunteer people and really grow their careers. Amanda, do you want to just maybe talk a little bit how you transform people, maybe throughout TMC, and really how when somebody's new to TMC, how you mentor them and bring them along like you did with me?
Yeah, I feel like saying like the word transform is putting too much credit to me. I think just in general, I think maybe the word coaching and mentoring is a word I like to use. But, I think anytime somebody asks me about volunteering in an organization, I am happy to help kind of point them in the right direction and kind of help get them dialed in. I think especially with TMC, getting involved in that organization is a little bit tricky compared to some other organizations. And so obviously, since I kind of have the inside scoop there, it's been really fun to help kind of a lot of my friends and up and coming leaders in that organization get more involved. And especially too, you mentioned Lead ATA, that program was really good for me because kind of I knew the inner workings of TMC, which is obviously a sub-council of the ATA, but I didn't know as much about the ATA or, its regulatory process and lobbying and all that stuff. And so, the network I built at ATA was just really rewarding. And I know that's kind of how this podcast got formed. And so it was really a really good experience for me as well as you guys. So
no, and I agree. And it was, you driving, your opinions and what you've been through and, telling me about that is really what wanted me to join Lead ATA and really, do more within TMC. If it wasn't for, your mentoring there, I don't know if I would have done any of those. And you've even taken a step further for me. You've, Lead ATA. I'm not Lead ATA, LEAB. So you saw the Law Enforcement Advisory Board and you're the first person that reached out to me and said, hey, you need to look into this. This could be something that you can really contribute to and help make a difference at. Even NAFC, you've done the same thing. And I know you've done that with others and throughout your career. Do you mind just sharing really how you progressed from, your time at Waller to where you're at now? And then even, transitioning at the TMC because, you were the chair. So I think that's just a really interesting story on how you've done that and how when you do that, others see that and you really make them want to be better.
It's a loaded question. I know.
It is.
I think how I've done it is just by not saying no, which probably is not really the best example of healthy work-life balance. But, it sounds weird to say it, but from the moment I started in TMC, which was way too long ago, I had this goal of wanting to be a chairman. And I don't know why, but that was something that I was never going to give up on. And so I just kept raising my hand there. And, I think that that's all we need to do in this industry to stay involved and stay engaged. And, you don't have to go to the level of like, I'm going to be chairman of TMC, but even just, meeting with somebody newer to the industry and having a cup of coffee with them and just telling them about, why you like trucking, like something as simple as that. I work with a local high school, and every year I go up and I make them do this presentation on why young people should get involved in trucking. And it's one of my favorite projects to do, just because a lot of these kids don't even think about careers in trucking, right? And I get to see firsthand like what's in their brain, um, why they would never consider a career in trucking. And then usually by the end of the project, they're like, this could be a valid career choice for me, right? So, there's small ways to give back to our industry. I'm obviously a huge ambassador to our industry. I have been in the industry. It'll be 20 years next year, which is crazy.
20 years?
I'm like 12 years old. It'll be 20 next year. But like I am in it for life, right? I'm a lifer.
Yeah.
And so this industry has been so good to me. And so any way that I can give it back to people, I always tell this story of when I was up for an award for women in trucking, I got this email from a lady named Carrie, and she said, "Hey, Amanda, I see you're up for this award at Women in Trucking. Can I buy you a cup of coffee and talk to you about your career?" And like, what a perfect email. What a perfect way to approach someone. What a perfect way to ask for mentorship. I think that if more of us could do that, in the industry and just one, not be afraid to reach out to people, right? Reverse mentor. But just give that time back to other people newer to the industry too. I just think that the industry would be so much better if we could all do that more.
Well,
So.
and that's just a fantastic perspective. And, there's one thing that I, owe my career, and success to you on is, when we first met, I was a salesman. I mean, 100%, I was a salesman.
I mean,
Let's be honest here.
Let's be real.
You took me aside and you said, when you come to these events, do not sell. Get yourself involved, get ingrained, become part of the industry. And if it wasn't for those words, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. So I thank you so much for that advice, for really showing me what it means to be part of this industry and how to succeed within it. And if it wasn't for that day where you pulled me aside at the show and told me that, like I said, I don't know if I would be sitting here today. So I am forever thankful on that.
You're welcome. You're still going to sell too.
Well,
you're still going to sell, but
of course,
you built the relationships and you're making our industry better. And that's what matters.
Yep, it does 100%. And I share that perspective to new salespeople that are coming on, at TMC at different events. I'll pull them aside and we'll have that discussion on how to really become, part of the industry and then build those relationships, and then people will buy from you. So I think that's really, one of the key things that I took from, meeting you, knowing you mentoring me throughout, all these years. The one thing I do want to talk about is, you and I have a soft spot in our hearts for technicians.
Yep.
And we know there's a real shortage, and we're going to talk at, a later date about this, but, where do you feel right now that we can fill that gap, and what do we need to do versus technician versus driver shortages?
Yeah. I mean, just like, I was just telling you, at the meeting we were at recently, like for me right now, I'm a little bit strange in that I oversee the shop, but I also run recruiting, so drivers as well. But for me right now, it's actually harder to hire a shop technician than a CDL driver, right? And so I think in the industry, we need to start really looking at our technician shortage. We need to start looking at apprenticeships for our technicians. We need to look at, creating programs internally where we can grow our technicians up and doing things for our technicians. But the shortage is a real thing. And people who say that it isn't, I disagree. It is hard, especially, in Houston right now for me. It is a wildly competitive market to hire a diesel tech right now. So that is definitely on my radar as a maintenance manager right now. And I think that's going to continue. It's, we're paying higher hourly wages than I've seen in a long time for, I don't want to say lower quality of work, but maybe lower skill sets. We're paying higher just to get them in the door, right? So I think that trend will continue, as we finish out this year and early next year. So yeah, we'll see. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, no, and everybody listening, there's a little teaser on some upcoming episodes. So make sure you stay tuned for those. But Amanda, I want to thank you for your time today. I know you're super busy. I know we just got back from an event. So thank you so much. Everybody stand by. We got more after this. This is Carrier Code. Carrier Code is sponsored by Driver's Legal Plan, CDL ticket defense for professional drivers. Hey, it's Rocco from Carrier Code. Every professional driver knows how important it is to protect your CDL. A single ticket can put your livelihood at risk, and that's where Driver's Legal Plan comes in. With just a phone call, you can get specialized CDL ticket defense for just $2.98 a week. Don't let a ticket jeopardize your trucking career. Contact Driver's Legal Plan today and let them defend you like they have more than 400,000 other cases. When you need CDL ticket defense, there is only one, Driver's Legal Plan. Call 1-800-580-8789 or visit driverslegalplan.com for your free consultation. Again, that's 1-800-580-8789 or driverslegalplan.com.
Welcome back. Oh my goodness. Those interviews were so cool. Rocco, what do you think?
Oh, it brought back memories. We had some laughs, probably said some appropriate things. But it's all part of it, that's what makes it so great is, you get to reminisce and then you get to, plan a path forward. And, both, Bryan and Amanda, they're, I've known Amanda now, I think 13 years. And she's been, every step of the way, every part of my journey here, she's been a part of it. And that's just a wonderful thing to have. And, I think you and Bryan as well, you guys work so well as a team and it showed in that interview. And that's just amazing to see that.
Oh my goodness. Yes. And it was such a joy to highlight all of the wonderful things that he's doing in the industry. He is a force for sure and has taught me a lot, again, about people and about connection. And I believe in giving honor where honor is due. Now, Rocco, I don't know if this made it or not, but I remember when we were initially recording the episode, I start singing and I'm like, keep smiling, keep shining, know that you can always count on me. But I mean, that's to me, like when I think of Bryan, I think of that song because he's like, okay, we're coordinating logistics for shows, and we're talking about the things that we need to do and kind of looking into the future and vision casting. And he is someone who does it so well. He has those conversations and he's very just a man of his word, such integrity and great, amazing character. Anyway, and we have so much fun doing it. So it's a blast.
And you can tell it's genuine. And I think that's one of the big things because, and I'm sure you guys had ups and downs, in the entire time you've known each other. And again, by having everything that's genuine, you work through that and you're at the position you guys are today. And it's just amazing to be able to see that and to share that with everybody. And again, that's what's so wonderful about this industry. Without Bryan, without Amanda, I can tell you without a doubt, without her guidance when I first got in here, I would not be sitting here today. I can tell you, no questions asked.
Absolutely. I do not doubt that, not one bit. But I have to level up my sarcasm game, okay? Because you and Amanda together are so witty and so funny, and there's so many jokes, and I'm just like, in stitches, just trying to like keep up with it. So anyway, hilarious. I love it. It's so wonderful. But yeah, the ways that we connect with people really do help make the days go by a lot faster and a lot easier.
Yes.
And we're enriched because of it. We hope that you enjoyed our interviews with Bryan and with Amanda. And don't forget to email us at knowthecode@carriercodepodcast.com to shout out who you would consider your right-hand person. Carrier Code is sponsored by Driver's Legal Plan, CDL ticket defense for professional drivers, and produced by Bulldog, Trucking's podcast pros. New episodes drop every week, so be sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss an episode. You can listen on your favorite podcast platform, watch on YouTube, or visit us anytime at carriercodepodcast.com. You'll also find us on all the social channels at Carrier Code Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Until next week, I'm Christy.
And I'm Rocco.
And this is Carrier Code.